Hey YouTubers, and welcome back to my YouTube channel, Master That English, where we understand, analyze, and interpret the important texts that may be part of your English curriculum. Our topic for today is something different that we haven't done so far. It is actually a pamphlet which is written by a restoration critic called Jeremy Collier. The name of the pamphlet is Immorality and Profaneness of the English Stage. Before we begin, get your pens and notepads ready, cause here we go. Alright, so let us begin with the cliched question that I always ask, that is always related to the title. Why does Jeremy Collier really want to talk about stage? Is he trying to critique something? Is he trying to really critique something very specific? Is this something that we really need to know? Because this is what the main question is. Why was Collier writing the pamphlet on stage? Is this really required? Of course, if we look at the real social structure of the time, this was something which was very, very obvious, and I think it is something which would definitely happen based on the social sudden contrast and shift that was happening during the age. Because when we talk about restoration, the age itself is called restoration because it's actually being restored from a phase that was prior to it, which is very, very different from the time when the monarchy actually started ruling. That is, Charles II actually came to the throne in 1660. But before that, there was no monarchy. There was a time which was called the Commonwealth Age. This is the time when the government was actually taking control. There was no official ruler because Charles I had been executed, and because of this, the Puritan age was at its boom. So the only things that the Puritans were actually supporting during their time was that they wanted to propagate the idea of religion. They wanted to propagate the idea that belief of religion should be propagated. And because of this, the kind of texts that were being studied were the texts like Milton, who was definitely having religious perspectives in his texts, and people were really admiring this the most. So you notice when we talk about the age before Restoration, the focus was mainly on poetry and things that were actually advocating the belief in God. So there was one thing that was not there, which was drama. There was no drama at all. People didn't really want to know what was there on the stage because there was no enactment of stage during this time. And this, in a way, made people really very bored because there is no sort of recreation. Religion is important and everybody admires the belief in religion and everything related to it. But when you have no drama, which is actually supposed to be the soul and energy of recreation, that was not there. People were really feeling very, very stiff. They were not getting any kind of excitement. And all this was obviously very, very, in a way, something that was making them laxed and very tired. So there was a need for change. Who brought that change? The actual monarch who came during the Restoration Age, which is Charles II. So when Charles II came during this first reign of 1660, you notice that the public is suddenly happy. They are really happy and rejoice because there is something Charles II is getting along with him, which is actually not prevalent before. And we have already seen this, which is the theatre, the drama that he got along with him, and which was basically because Charles II was coming from the place Paris, which is actually known as the fashion estate even today. So coming from a place which was known for its culture and tradition, mostly in the aesthetic way that was presented on stage, Charles II really got that because that was the actual place where he was residing to save himself for a very long time, till the time he was young. And later when he came from there, he got that culture with him, which is the dramatic stage performance, and all these creative aspects were brought back to England. But now another thing was brought about. Not only the theatre was brought, but also a new kind of culture was starting, a new tradition, which is the major change that you notice in the theatre. What is this major change? The very important thing that women started contributing as actors. This is interesting because during the Elizabethan age, even though our bard William Shakespeare has so many plays in which female characters are considered to be the heroines, especially in comedies. But you notice that these heroines are constantly being played by male characters. So the shift was, in a way, developed by this new kind of tradition that was being followed, that women can now take part in the theatre. The other important thing that was there in the way in which things and elements were being presented, because the emphasis was actually on one thing, which is the negative human qualities. So you're not really focusing on the positive things, or you're not giving a moralistic note as was being done before the restoration period. The only thing that you're focusing is all negative. It's all sensuous, and other sort of negative qualities that human beings usually present are being represented on the stage. And this was something that disturbed Collier, because he himself, if we know about Collier, Collier was mainly a bishop by profession and also a literary critic. So he felt that there was a need to change all of this. So the only thought that was persistently moving in his mind, which he also states in the pamphlet, is something where he says that "'tis my business rather to kill the root than transplant it." So this genuine concern had to be addressed in a particular way. How is Collier going to really address this? How is he really going to show his concern for this wrong act that was being represented on stage? The only way in which he could do this was by writing a pamphlet that goes against those writers who were promoting the immoral beliefs in the entertainment platform. And all these writers that he's writing about, they are actually the restoration dramatists who really started a new culture, a new wave. And in that, we have the pioneer writers who were mainly writing comedies. So the writers that he would be addressing would be writers like John Dryden, William Congreve, Henry Van Brugh, Thomas Jeffrey. And all these dramatists, if you look at it, the reason why they are important is because all of them are coming from good upbringing. They're mainly addressing the aristocratic cosmos, the people of the higher class. Their culture is being represented on the stage, and that is the reason why the pomp and show is there on stage. Because it is basically reflective of the aristocracy and the way, in the manner in which the French people would live, their lifestyle, the bourgeois lifestyle, in which they would enjoy everything around them. So this is what Collier really wanted to address. And he does this in the pamphlet that he has written. The complete title, or the full name of this pamphlet, is Immorality and the Profaneness of the English Stage, together with the sense of antiquity upon this argument. Now, this is an interesting title because he is going to do something, he is going to give a very, very strong argument in this pamphlet by a lot of things that he'll be doing, that we'll be understanding step by step as we understand the structure of this work, which has been divided into 6 chapters. So let's not waste any time and quickly begin with understanding the general way in which how he is actually representing the element.